What's up, everyone? Welcome to the What's Your Five podcast, episode 26. Yes, 26. Joining me this week is our resident gaming host, Mr. JoelFrrr. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, Burdell? Megan, how's it going?
It is good. And joining us as well is our now part-time gaming host. Thank you very much for joining this or joining me, Joel, and Anthony on this podcast journey. Miss Megan Hunt, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
It sounds so enthusiastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate your enthusiasm and, all that good stuff. But thank you very much for joining us on this lovely journey. Tonight's recording is actually going to be something that we've visited on episode 4, which was top 5 games all time. Now, I was a part of that on episode 4, but our gaming hosts have not. And so I wanted to revisit this topic because I feel it's pretty important, especially with the people that are going to be joining us on this like huge journey of wonderful podcasts. We're going to be super famous by episode 27. So, keep that in mind. But yeah, so I'm super excited about hearing what you guys have to say. I have pretty much some feelings between both of your guys' lists, but I'm very curious to see what the latter is. That's more of my taste. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're going through tonight. Before we get into it, though, and before we start talking about some cool stuff, I do want to go ahead and again, just like always, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this, please hit the like button on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any topics you guys want to suggest, please hit us up on our social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at what's_your_5. Also, make sure to reach us at topics@whatsyour5.com in case if you guys want to do any topics that you guys want to mention to us or to Megan or to Joel, or if you guys want to be on the show. So let's do that. Also, be sure to look out for us on our first live stream. It's going to be coming up real soon because if you guys have been checking out the Twitters and whatnot, you guys saw that I have my new gaming rig. So I'm super stoked about that. So we're doing that. And let's see, what's the last part? Oh, and if you guys want any previous lists, hit us up at whatsyour5.com. So with all that stuff out of the way, what I'd like to ask first and foremost, because this is a gaming podcast, I want to know, Megan and Joel, first off, what are you guys playing right now?
Good, Megan.
Oh, I am still playing Spider-Man Miles Morales.
That's like a 4-hour game.
I realized that about an hour in, so I'm taking my time.
Yes.
I was like,
good.
why do I have almost everything already? And I was like,
You play for like a night, and then it says like 35% completed, and I'm like, oh, really? I mean,
really?
Read the reviews, it's a little short, but like 15 hours-ish.
Yeah, it was funny because, again, I think you guys know, that was my first ever Spider-Man game. And I remember, when I used to work with Megan, like, I used to ask her, like, yes, what do you play? She's like, Spider-Man. I'm like, you guys are still playing Spider-Man? Like, how the hell are you playing this game? Like, she's like, oh, but the photo mode's really cool and this and that and the other. And I'm like, okay, I guess. And then when I played it now, like a couple months back, I'm like, okay, I totally get it now. Like, I totally get and understand why Megan loved this game so much.
There's like each generation has a great Spider-Man game, Riddell, so you should revisit. PS1 has a great Spider-Man game. PS2 has a great Spider-Man game.
Can you tell me if the PS1 Spider-Man game was based off the cartoon?
No.
The Fox cartoon? It was not.
It was super comic booky. And they did a lot of like hide the technical difficulties of PS1 with fog.
Oh yeah.
But it was a really fun game, and it was narrated by Stan. Like the whole game was narrated by Stan, so that was kind of cool.
Nice, right on, good deal. So Megan's playing Miles. What have you been playing, Joel?
So I am. If you guys know me, I when I start new games, I don't like to be interrupted. Like I want to finish it, or else I won't finish.
Okay.
So I'm eagerly awaiting Bravely Default 2 coming out on the 26th,
Friday of this recording.
I bought Persona 5 Strikers, but I'm not going to play it because I want to play Bravely Default. So in the interim, I am revisiting some older games. Almost done with my like 13th playthrough of Tactics, and I'm actually playing I Am Setsuna again after our pod with Alex. With my slightly upgraded gaming computer, I'm playing a 6-year-old game.
I'm telling you right now, with again, I mentioned it before. I built a new gaming PC, because I had a 3070 and all this other stuff. So I have this really awesome gaming PC. And what am I playing? I'm playing a 25-year-old Street Fighter game online. So I mean, I have like Horizon to benchmark it off of. What else do I have? I forgot. I have a Final Fantasy 14 I can benchmark it off, but I mean that's even like almost like a 9-year-old game now, almost 10. I don't know. I have some amount of years, but yeah. So I mean, I have all this like horsepower, but yet I still kind of stick to my guns, and so I can totally feel you on that. It's kind of funny.
A fast car and drive in school zone. It's fun.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because you just want to, you want
Style.
all show. You want all show, no go. That's what it is. Thank you guys for that. Anything new? As far as as far before we get into, I just wanted to kind of just touch base, what's going on, if there's anything that's going on that you guys want to talk about before we get into the topic, because I know that for me, I'm not really playing too much. Again, I'm playing 20-year-old Street Fighter or whatever, but I'm also in this like fog of either playing Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm kind of like not really too I mean, I'm digging it, but it's hard because I played Spider-Man. Now I'm playing this, and it's like way more drab. And I think I might want to switch back to like RPG or something, but I don't know. That's just me. But if there's anything you guys want to mention before we get into the topic, the floor.
Are you current on WandaVision, Megan?
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
How about you, Riddell?
I am not.
That's okay. I'm not going to talk about last episode.
Thank you. Thank you.
What I do want to talk about, maybe just very briefly, I think it was episode 5. When they showed like the hospital post snap.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I texted Riddell after I caught up. I watched the 7 episodes like the past week.
Mm-hmm.
I realized why is because I hate freaking waiting for a week to watch a new episode. So I was kind of hold out as long as possible so I can get an episode per day.
Right.
But I really like that because like I texted Riddell right away when they did the snap and everyone was like popping up in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, bro, no way could like they live for 5 years making food for 3 billion people and have 3 more billion people show up. Like they would all starve. We can't get our infrastructure back up and fast enough to feed all these people. They've been gone for 5 years. Energy wouldn't be able to be produced fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like sewage and water is degraded or not degraded, but serves literally half the people.
Yep.
So I hope they touch on that. I hope they go more into like what happened during the snap and the third snap act.
I swear, Joel, you're the one. I swear to God, every time it's always you that always thinks about like everything on an askewed angle, right?
I watched a random video today, so I ended up playing like the last hour of Endgame again while I was working.
Right.
And it reminded me of how much I hate time travel. And I Googled like to see what their opinion was. So if you go by the MCU rules, right, you have to undo what you did, because if you make a change, you create a new alternate reality.
Right.
And it seems like they're gonna do the whole multiverse thing. But at the end, Captain America goes back.
Right.
Obviously changes things by not coming back, right?
Right.
So first we're gonna suspend disbelief that he didn't let anyone see him. He hid in her house for 40 years, right? He didn't let any person see him ever. He didn't touch anyone, talk to anyone, impact anyone whatsoever.
Right.
She lived her life the same, being married to her, her love.
Right. So
that would never happen. So if there's an alternate timeline now, how is he back in this timeline? I don't know. He would, when he got old, he'd be in an alternate timeline, not the timeline that he left. Makes no sense. I hate time travel in movies because it's never consistent. Damn, Back to the Future.
This is me time travel.
There's 2 trains of thoughts usually, right? Either every time there's a change, there's an alternate universe is created,
right?
And now you're on a different universe. You have to go back to yours.
Yeah.
Or it's all like gonna happen anyway. So you going back in time was supposed to happen and really did happen. So it's
all cyclical
timeline.
Yeah.
But then that's like that's a super cop out. It's like, well, it's gonna happen, so it already happened. It's like, no, that's bullshit, and you can't really change anything. Or did you change anything? I don't know. It sucks. I really wish that they left it at like when he went back in time,
Right.
the stones back, and
Right.
Bucky was like giving his weird smile.
Yeah.
I wish they just showed Cap and her dancing and done.
Yeah.
And
And
I was
this
like,
is called it. All right, cool.
Stayed. Like none of that. Oh, you're the new Captain America now, Mister No superpowers. Here you go. So
Right. Yeah,
That
that
was
whole
nonsense.
part they could have just left out. But then how could they justify making this new series, whatever it
true.
is, the
I
two
mean, they could
people
assume
I
he
don't
never
care
came
about?
back.
But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's all cash grab. It's all monies.
No.
Just
And
do
I've
it.
had my Disney Plus subscription since they started, and I've watched like 3 things: Mandalorian,
Same.
this, and like a few movies. So they're getting my money. It is what it is.
No, you have kids though, dude. Like, don't your kids watch Disney Plus?
He watches Muppet Babies and Puppy Dog Pals,
See?
but that's on YouTube. I don't need Disney Plus to watch
No,
that.
but then like my son watches Bluey and like some other Disney garbage. But I mean, I don't know. It's nice to be able to pull up a Marvel movie anytime I really want to.
True. That's true.
Yeah. So Megan, like, how did you feel about now? Were you all about WandaVision in the beginning, or did
No.
you weren't?
No, I was like, well, who is your target audience for this?
Sure.
With these two characters that I don't care about, because really all I ever knew was the MCU. So I didn't know any backstory to care at all.
Yep.
And I had Disney Plus since the beginning. I have like a 3-year subscription somehow, and I was like, all right, just binge
See what it's
watched
all
all
about.
5 episodes, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, totally. I had to stomach the first episode. I hated it. I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. It was just, I mean, and Anthony, our producer, was like, oh, you should watch it. It's really good, and this and that. Like, because he's all about like, the Twilight Zone and those type of shows and whatnot. I'm like, I just couldn't get into it. And then finally, after the 3rd episode, like, oh, now it makes more sense. Okay, I like it.
Maybe maybe I wouldn't say lazy, because I don't have time to analyze TV shows. But I really like I do watch like the YouTube analysis things after episodes. They're like 15 minutes long. I watch I like New Rockstars, but it just points out all the details that you don't see and I would never want to see.
Right.
And they do all the comic research for you.
Right.
So I think it's pretty cool. Like they were pointing out things from episode 1 that were like why things aren't as they seem. They're like, oh, I thought it was just weird.
Right.
But I enjoy that. I did the same for The Boys when I watched that season 2. Which I heard they just started filming, which is pretty exciting.
Season 3, I'm assuming.
They just started season 3.
Filming
season 3, sorry.
I need to start watching The Boys. Did you watch The Boys, Megan?
The first season. I haven't started the second season yet.
Second season's better.
Gotcha.
It's better?
Well, I think it's better, but it's close.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you. That's always good to have. I definitely need to watch WandaVision now because I'm trying to avoid as much spoilers as possible on social media, and so far I've been pretty good about it. But man, dude, like some people are like, "This is the villain." I'm like, "No!" Like, scroll. So,
but what I hate is like I've seen people post like, I really didn't like WandaVision and like in the first 2 episodes, and now I love it. I'm like everyone else. Like,
yeah.
That's not a unique take.
Exactly.
I don't know why you're posting that on social media, but okay.
Oh man, people just want to post stuff on most social media, man. It's that whole big book thing, It's like, I'm sad. Why are you sad, Megan? What happened? And then this goes from there. So, all right, let's get into it. Sorry, tangents. Top 5 games all time. I know this was a pretty tough one for both of you, and it was very tough for me too. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to do the show. So I'd like to first start off with this, as we normally do, criteria. Ladies first. Megan, was there any criteria going into this? Like, was there something that you had to put on, or what was the criteria going into your list? Was it just the best games of all time? Did you have to beat them? Like, how did that go about?
Yes, had to beat them. And then for me, it was replayability. So how many times have I replayed this game? And I was on the spot trying to make a 3rd reason, but I don't have one.
No,
those
don't
2
need
reasons.
to.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There's nothing after that. Joel?
I put some thought into it. I hate this topic, by the way, Riddell. I hate it. It's way too vague.
Too.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I first was making my list, I was like, oh, easy. I'll put like my top 20 favorite games, and then I'll rank by how fun they are.
Right.
Like that's very subjective.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, but how do you judge like a shooting game versus an RPG funness? I don't know. Like how do you judge a SNES game versus a PS4 game in terms of fun? So then I really took a step back and I was like, I didn't like do too much. I didn't do like a spreadsheet or anything, but I was like, all right, I need to judge them on every layer. So gameplay, not graphics, because graphics is like time based.
Yes,
but at least artistic style,
mm-hmm.
music, sound.
Wow.
Gameplay, obviously. Story that counts. Not the end all be all, because I don't have 5 RPGs on my list.
Yeah,
but it had a factor.
Sure.
And the one thing I really did want to do is not be a prisoner of when the game came out. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I changed. Mm-hmm. So before I had like, this is the best game from this era, so I need to have it in.
Yeah.
But I kind of pivoted, and I'm more like, if I can't play it today and have the same amount of fun, then it doesn't belong on the list.
That's a great point. Totally great point.
Fair.
Very fair. One last thing before we get into this. So Megan, I know your roommate is a huge gamer. Did you discuss this with them prior to making your list or anything like that? I mean,
yeah, I did.
It's a good topic, or it's a good something to discuss. And Joel, goes same for you. Significant other. Did you speak to her about this situation?
I told her the topic, but I really didn't want any influence in my list, because I was like waffling until like an hour ago.
I can imagine. Hey man, we're gonna do a top 5 games. Well, my test is shut up.
I mean, Riddell, you know what number one's going to be, but the other 4 were very
that's
contested.
Exactly. So you guys, if you guys have been diligently watching, which you guys I'm sure you have, you guys know what Joel's number 1's probably going to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't watch the rest of it. I really want to know what the other 4 are, so we'll see how it goes. So to our new gaming host, I would like to start off with you, because it's you. Megan, what is your number 5 in your top 5 list of all video games of all time?
Number 5. I feel like I've talked about this game multiple times.
Sure.
Yes. It is Xenogears.
Okay. Yes. Absolutely.
I've replayed this game many times.
Mm-hmm.
And have appreciated it more
as
an adult, I guess, being more mature and understanding a lot of the
themes.
The themes, yeah. Super dark themes.
Yeah.
I didn't get it as a kid, and I get it now. And I was like, damn. Yeah.
Religion? What the heck?
Yeah. And this was, I believe, if I remember correctly, the first RPG that I played. And the beginning is slow. It's really, really slow.
Yeah.
And it's not a good introduction to the rest of the game, I feel like. But
no.
Yeah, once you get into it, the combat system, I just love.
Oh, yeah.
The combos, or I think they're death blows that you can combo. Yes. Yeah, or something like that. Yes. And without using menus, like you just press the buttons. You don't have to select anything, which was really cool.
Were you like a fighting game player like before, or did you ever
wasn't play? No. This is like my one exception.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I always wondered, would people always put Xenogears in their top 5 or top 10, whatever. And I've always been curious, because I'm a huge fighting game fan, and like that's definitely something I'm always like very attuned to, which is the combo system or the combat system in Xenogears. Pressing these buttons and stuff like that. But I think there's also like a math element to it, because I think it's like you have different attributes, right? Like it's like light, medium, heavy. You can only do like one heavy at one point, or then later on when you level up, you can do 2 heavies or whatever to do all these different combos. But yeah, I can totally agree with that. If you haven't watched our last episode with Alex, that was part of his list as well for top 5 Square Enix games. If you guys haven't watched it, please watch it. And that was one. I think was that his number 1, Joel? If I remember right.
No, number 1 was Secret of Mana.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So,
I think it was like number 4 or so, number 3 or
yeah,
4.
I remember it was on his list though. But yeah, I mean, great choice. I think that it was again one of the games I did play back then. I still think Disc 2 was a sham, but
Yes. Yeah, it is what it is.
it is what it is. Now, Megan, have you played it? So you said you played it numerous times. Did you? So have you played it within the past 5 years?
The past 5 years, not in completion. Yes.
Okay. How are you
Yes.
playing? Are you just playing on emulator, or you
Yes.
actually? Okay.
Yep.
Right on. Good deal.
Did you try any of the other Xeno games, Megan?
Oh yes,
Curious.
yes.
Trying to recapture
Xenosaga
that.
1, 2, and 3,
Mhm.
and Xenogears is actually the 5th episode. So I'm super peeved that they haven't made that 4th one that bridges the series together. I'm very, very
Did not know this.
bitter
Did not know
about
it.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Because the Xenosaga, they go episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and then it ends. And then I believe there was supposed to be 4, 5, and 6 is the ending trilogy. I don't know what happened there.
Blade come into play.
Yeah, I don't know
one.
about that.
Okay.
I've heard about it, and I played like one of those games, and I could kind of see how there would be some elements that are connecting, but I just didn't get into it enough.
That's one game I need to give a second chance. I don't know.
And you don't have a Switch, right, Megan? Or you do?
No, I don't.
Okay, gotcha. Right on. And you were saying, Joel, and that's something I don't know, man. Like I just remember, like the Nintendo Direct, we were talking about it last week. The game, like I think it was Xenoblade, right? That was the character got announced. The voice actors were so horrible. I just can't get over it. Man.
I'm not a stickler for voice acting like Riddell is, but the premise is just strange. I don't know. I couldn't get it because everyone says it's like top 5 JRPG on the Switch, right?
Sure.
But you start out like on this sentient whale thing, and you're like a scavenger, and he talks to you like an old man.
Yeah.
And then when you fight, you just hold X or something like that. And I'm like,
no.
Sorry. Nowadays, if I don't get into it like in the first hour and a half, then I'm not gonna play it.
Well, I mean, I think it's our age. It's the age range, right? You know, I mean, like I think it's I'm very hopeful that when I buy Bravely Default 2, that I'll get into it right away. Because if I don't, I'm gonna be very, very upset.
Play the demo.
Yeah, I want to be surprised.
The save doesn't carry over in it.
Yeah, I want to be surprised. I want to be going from there. So great choice, Megan. Thank you very much. Xenogears number 5. Joel, what do we got, man? What is number 5?
Number 5 for me, it's the first of 2 games that are part of a trilogy. Number 5 for me is going to be Mass Effect 2. So to me, Mass Effect is one of, I just said, like my 2 favorite gaming trilogies. Like I won't say it. But to me, Mass Effect 2 is like the Empire, right? It's like the Empire of the original trilogy.
Okay.
So Mass Effect 2, I think, is when the real kind of shift in tone for the series starts. Mass Effect 1 ends super hopeful, like A New Hope. And then Mass Effect 2, it's like the first thing you do is die. It's like literally you die in like the first 10 minutes.
Right.
And then it turns super gritty. You kind of learn the underbelly, the gameplay. They way improve the gameplay. I know a lot of people say they don't like Mass Effect 2 because technically you could take the story out of the main story and nothing's lost. To that, I say, F you. I love that story. I love the characters. I think that was the strongest part of the game, even though let's forget Jacob. The rest of the characters are super awesome, and their side quests are really good. There was no like fluff in the game. Like I think Mass Effect, I love Mass Effect the original, but there was a little bit too much extra. I'm mining the planets were no fun.
Completion.
And the gameplay was
what?
Mass Effect 2. This is the game I replayed the most in the trilogy. Like I replayed it a ton. I would actually, I beg forgiveness on this one. I would make a custom save file from Mass Effect 1 and then import it to Mass Effect 2 because I don't want to play it again. Mass Effect 3, everyone kind of knows that no one loved the ending, and I also didn't really like how you had to do the online to get the best like readiness. But Mass Effect 2.
What online portion did you have
to
do?
The online's actually pretty fun. I liked it while it was active.
Okay.
So it's like COD Zombies where it's co-op against waves.
Okay.
But you have to do it enough to get like ready for the big battle.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, you're going to be stuck at a certain level.
Oh.
So once it was great while the game first came out, and then 3-4 years later, when no one was playing, it was kind of shitty. So I think they'll change that for Legendary Edition. But Mass Effect 2 was my favorite of the series, and it was one of my favorite games of all time. Obviously, with number 5.
Did you play it on Xbox or did you play it on PC?
Xbox, come on, man, PC. I've told the story. I picked up the only PC like deluxe edition at GameStop.
Oh, that's right.
GameStop. I walked up and I was like, "Oh yeah, I got a reservation." He was like, "Oh, what platform is your PC?" And he looked in the drawer. He looked under the table, scratched his chin, and then he was like, "Oh!" And then he took it off the shelf, like the display shelf, and gave it to me.
Nice. Oh, that's great. That's great. So, agree or disagree, Megan? Did you think part 2 was the best out of the 3?
So while I was kind of brainstorming with my roommates and talking about Mass Effect, because I will be talking about Mass Effect later, I was like, I'm going to have to talk about why I don't like Mass Effect 2.
Yes!
Because I know somebody here likes Mass Effect 2.
Guy.
We've had this conversation. I am a huge fan of Mass Effect 2, and I think we've talked about this before, Megan, so
yes.
We'll wait till you talk about yours.
Yeah.
Games. It's fine.
I mean, I agree that it's a good game,
right.
but for me, I like the characters, but I also didn't like the characters. And yes, I said those same words. It was just like, screw Jacob. Like, everyone except Jacob.
You know what? His side mission was okay, like his dad being a douche.
Yeah.
But other than that, and the way his mouth moved, it really freaked me out. His teeth were super white, and he's a black character, so there's too much contrast, and his mouth moves very mechanically.
So are you telling me that we had a blackface character in a video game?
Yeah, he was like normal.
Okay, I don't
he was normal.
know.
They just didn't animate him very well.
I am looking forward.
Strange.
I'm telling you guys, I am actually looking forward to this trilogy that's coming out. In a couple months. I'm really looking forward to it because I'll finally be able to play this damn game that everybody keeps talking about. So
I did hear a rumor that they are abandoning Anthem to focus more on Dragon Age and Mass Effect.
Yes,
actually,
that's not rumor. That's like that's
fact. I think it was declared officially. So
yeah.
I think that means more Mass Effect on the horizon outside of Legendary Edition.
Word to Big Bird. Right on. Thank you very much, Joel, for that lovely choice there. So, Megan, number 4, what do you have?
Oh, wait, hold on. I don't get to talk about why I hated Mass Effect 2. I mean, not hated, but did not prefer Mass Effect 2.
Please, I actually, the floor is yours. I apologize.
Continue. And I mean, like I said, it is a great game.
Yes.
But then also, like Joel said, that you could just take that part of the story out and I just felt like Mass Effect 2 didn't need to happen. We just could have continued on.
Have you guys, before you continue, Megan, have you guys ever watched Indiana Jones? Like the whole movies?
Not very recently. If you ask me trivia, I couldn't answer.
But you've watched it though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first one?
I've heard the theory you can skip 3/4 of the movie and it's the same thing. It's not
that. Is it the same thing where if Indiana Jones didn't it wouldn't have mattered if Indiana Jones was there or not. The Nazis still would have died regardless. Yeah. Is that what I'm talking about with Mass Effect 2, where that you're talking about the story?
So go ahead, Megan. You mentioned it, so you can go first. I'll say why you're wrong.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't want to also. How do I say this without ruining it for you?
Spoil it.
It's fine. It's okay. We found out that the damn horse dies in Ghost of Tsushima, so I might as well figure out what's going to happen in Mass Effect 2. Let's go for it.
Okay. Well, so yes, you die, and then you come back to life for other reasons.
Sure.
Other reasons. Mm-hmm. And it was just okay, and then for me, it was just that could have happened. And this whole side story is what felt to me like a side story, was the backbone of the whole game or something, was these collectors or whatever. That whole thing could have just not happened. And it's okay, Shepard died and came back. And yes, weird things are going on and no one still believes him, her, whatever. Continue on to the third game. And I also felt like I liked the characters, but there were too many. I felt like my attention was just spread too thin between all of them. Yeah, that I want to save some of this for later.
Okay, no, save it somewhere for later. It's fine. Joel, any retort before we continue?
Yeah, I mean, in the nicest way possible. In a simple view, this is true, right? You could also say that, at the end of A New Hope, nothing really happens besides the hand getting cut off, and the big reveal of the father. Yeah. But to me, it shows like it reinforces the fact that humans are a lesser race in the universe. Because if you don't know the story, they're like brand new. They've been there for like 40 years or whatever.
Sure.
It also turns Shepard from Mr. or Mrs. Soldier Boy / girl to like, no, being a good soldier is my second priority. The first is getting ready for the Reapers, and also reinforces that no one believes them. And the biggest thing to me is that the characters that do move on, Tali and the racist, and it adds depth. It adds a lot of depth. Like Tali pretty much like grows up in Mass Effect 2. I thought one of the best moments was when she accepted that her name is now Tali Vast Normandy, which you'll learn about Riddell when you play the games. That's like, I don't know if you hate her character or not, Megan. I can't judge the facial expression, but yeah, while I do agree, like at a simple zoomed out look, that you could chop it out, but you would be missing so much context from Mass Effect 3 that I think it'd be a bad story decision.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, I love the fact that that's fair, and I could tell in Megan's voice, you can tell like you're fucking wrong.
No. That's fair. I mean, I didn't replay it. I think I only ever played the game twice to do like both sides of the. Oh my god, what is it? What do you call this?
The morality thing.
The morality thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't tell me though that the suicide mission wasn't awesome. That's one of the highlights of the series for me.
Ooh.
I mean, okay, yes. I just was very inconvenienced by the fact that you could go into it without realizing it. And you may not have completed all the side quests.
Well, that's part of it. Some of your teammates dying is part of the experience, and you play it again.
Yes,
later.
When you don't care. On my second playthrough, that definitely happened. But the first time I was caught off guard.
It's like super hot vent human. Go in there.
Operation Human Shield. Was Shepard a man or a male or a female? Megan?
Oh, female, definitely, because
Joel?
the voice acting is 1,000 times better.
I did both for 1 and 2, but my contiguous character was a male.
Okay.
I only played 3 twice. 3. It was good. It's just I only played it twice.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. All right, let's continue. Megan, number 4. What do we got?
Number 4 is Morrowind.
Elder Scrolls.
Yes. Elder Scrolls. 3?
3.
3. Yes.
Everyone forgets about Oblivion because it was.
Yes, yeah. I was talking to you guys remember Eddie about that, and because I did not like Oblivion at all in any sense, and I think it's because everything scaled with you and you just never felt powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I cheated my way through that game. I'm not gonna deny it. And I loved Morrowind, but in his case, he loved Oblivion and hated Morrowind. And I think it's just like whatever you played first, right? Like,
how can you love Oblivion? I played Oblivion first, and even now I'd hate it.
I don't know.
So for all the people that do not know Elder Scrolls, this guy included, can you explain the games for me, please? I know you're probably gonna think like, what the fuck, but please.
Well, to be honest, I don't know pre Elder Scrolls 3. I had no interest in playing those games at that point.
I want a 10,000-foot overview, like how we do it in IT. I need a 10,000-foot overview of what our game plan's going to be, So
It's like
all the
Dungeons and
stories
Dragons,
are
right?
yeah, they're in the same universe, but they're not the stories in contiguous.
Mhm.
It's individual per game. And I would say it was the first great sandbox. I think that's fair. The first great sandbox was Morrowind. First great sandbox and modding community was Morrowind, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like my fourth or fifth playthrough through it is when I finally discovered that you can mod these things, and I played as a Moogle through one of them, which is really cool. You like just default had slow fall, and I really like that about Morrowind. Like you just the cities weren't instant, so you just like jump over the wall into the city, jump
Right.
over the wall out of the city.
Mhm.
Where I think I like with Oblivion, the cities became instants or something like that. It just didn't feel the same.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
The only thing I remember about Oblivion is that I hated those like Daedric towers. It was like the
screw
worst part
those
of the game.
things.
Like I almost wanted to quit the game, but I was like, no, I need to finish it. And then at the end, like you said, because everything's scaled, if you remember at the end, you get flooded with those like Daedric demons. I found out that I could like hop on the buildings in the last town, so I didn't fight any of them. I just hopped to the end and fought the boss because I would die. I couldn't, like, they're scaled, so I couldn't beat them.
So
Yeah.
you're talking about Oblivion. You're not talking about Morrowind.
Oblivion. So Morrowind, to be fair, I played it after Oblivion and I never finished it. I know I think it was a little too old.
Dated.
I
Yeah.
couldn't get into it.
Wait, so which came out first, Oblivion or Morrowind?
Morrowind.
Oh,
Morrowind 3, Oblivion 4, Skyrim 5. And then online, we don't talk
Ah.
about online.
No, I know somebody that plays online. They're all about it, and I'm just like, nope. I'm good. Thank you. So Morrowind, I'm assuming. So I guess this begs the question then to Megan. Are you one of the PC Master Race folks, or are you just like don't care and just want games in general?
I don't care. Like
Okay.
I would say before I was all PC Master Race.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that changed as I got older. It's like I'm done sitting in front of a computer all day. And then PlayStation exclusives. So
Sure, yeah, for sure.
So Megan's what I call evolved PC Master Race, like past the pettiness.
Yeah,
like obviously it's the best platform, but past like the I'm so rich I can afford this. Past the I don't play anything on controller. Past any of that nonsense, right?
That's true.
Yes,
it fits where it fits.
So before we move to Joel, I was going to ask as well. I know you said Morrowind, played multiple times, modding community, all that stuff. What was it that attracted you to it, or what was it that was really just something that you just enjoyed about it? I mean, as vague as that sounds.
Are you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said you like prefaced Joel's name. So
I said before we get to Joel.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I apologize.
No.
Honestly, 100% the freaking like box art.
Really?
At the store. Yeah. So my dad's like retired Air Force, so we shopped at the
Exchange.
Exchange.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh yeah. Oh, you guys know. All right.
Oh, we know. You know.
Are you actually paying $19.99 for that $20 game? You don't pay $21 whatever.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So it was back in their like a little electronics section. And you know how they like space them like 3 feet apart because there just weren't that many games.
Yep.
It was on there, and I was just like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
Asked my parents if I could buy it. They bought it for me, and that's
how it was.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
Went to town. Was your dad heavily influenced in your gaming like interests? Like, you know, we talk about it with Joel all the time, or I talk about it with myself and my brothers and whatnot. And Joel talks about how his dad, his dad and his sister. You know, was your dad a part of that too?
No, he wasn't. I mean, neither of my parents were. Honestly, I don't know really how I got into it in the first place.
Okay. Good deal. All right. Let's move on. So, Joel, number 4, what do we have?
Number 4 for me, it's actually the newest game on my list. Not too new, but the newest. It's going to be Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Ooh, yeah.
So, many reasons.
Yes.
Remember, I was weighing like the different factors. The reason why it's 4 is I felt they could have done so much with the story, but they decided not to. But let's talk about the positives. Obviously it's I would say, Ocarina of Time and the N64 Zelda games were sandboxy. This was the first, like, we're not even gonna tell you where to go, have at it, and they did it so well. Where it's like there's some games, especially the newer sandbox games, where go find a tower, it'll illuminate all the dots, and then go do the dot side missions. While they had the tower, the tower kind of factor, you still had to search for the side dungeons, right? So actually exploring was like a treat. You actually, hey, I think there's something over that mountain, and lo and behold, there actually is something behind that mountain. Or that crevice down there looks like I can walk on it. Lo and behold, there's a hidden dungeon in that behind that crevice. Which is super rewarding, and they did the dungeons well enough. I know veteran Zelda fans didn't. Some of them weren't a fan of like the quick, short dungeons because they're used to these long, epic, huge dungeons. But that comes to my other point. It introduced this like game changer. That's the Switch, and it became like, oh, I can do 2 dungeons before I go to work and put the system to sleep and pick it up later. I think it was a perfect intro to the Switch. The battle system was fine, but really what shined were the physics. Now when I play open world games, I'm like, damn, this tree doesn't move, or damn, this rock doesn't move. I can't climb that cliff. Damn, because I think Breath of the Wild came out in 2017, but it was in development for a long time before that. Anything you see can move. You can knock that tree over into the camp. Sure, some of that, like the actual fighting mechanics weren't too advanced. But the fact that you can see like crazy things where people find a big rock and put on the floor, attract the enemies, and put a balloon, and they go in the sky and they fall and die. Like you can do any of that you want in Breath of the Wild. It's a big playground. That's how I see it. It's my favorite Zelda game. It's my favorite Switch game, and I mean, based off the rest of my list, it's my favorite game of the generation, I guess.
Sure.
I think we had an episode recently, and this was not number 1 on my current game. So, oops. Continuity mistake.
So, couple of points. One thing I do want to ask, and I'm pretty sure we'll get some type of comment on it, or somebody's going to mention this. Were you for or against the weapon breaking system?
First, I was pissed. I thought it was stupid as hell.
Right.
But it forced you to use new weapons, which was fine, which was cool. And then, really, I mean, once you unlock the Master Sword, it's whatever. And since the enemies do get harder as you progress in the game, if my I can't remember what the names are, but if my golden short sword breaks, I can probably get a new one around the corner. So it didn't really bother me, and I would have never used things like the boomerang if I didn't have to, and it'd been kind of fun, so I didn't mind.
Megan, first off, I know you don't own a Switch. Have you played any Zelda games?
So I don't own a Switch, but my roommate does. So I have played Breath of the Wild, and then no, honestly, that was my first intro into Zelda. I know I'm ashamed to say this out loud where people will hear it.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I know. I was not into and didn't have access to.
You didn't have a Nintendo console after SNES. It's kind of, there's no other way to play it.
Sure.
Yeah. At one point, my brother had a GameCube, and I believe whatever Zelda game came.
That was Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yes, is like all shell shaded.
Cell shaded. My favorite type of graphics.
Little Link.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, little round head. I played a little bit of that, but that really was it, and I was into other RPGs at that time.
So then, so you said you played Breath of the Wild. Did you actually get into it, or did you just play it a little?
Yeah, okay. I got to like that last spirit thing that you had to do out in the desert. Was at least the last one for me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So with the
tall burlesque lady.
Yeah. And then that's just where I kind of ended it. I didn't continue on past that.
I gotta be honest with that. When you play the game, like, I mean, there's a lot of people that I've talked to about it where you don't want the game to end because it's just that good. At that point, when you get to the, after you beat the part that you were stuck at, afterwards, like you can go to Ganon and beat him, but
you can go to Ganon 5 minutes in the game.
5 minutes in the game and beat him. But it's like you don't want to, like you just want to keep going. I remember, at that point, that's when I was taking my time. Like, I'll just find another shrine. I'll just do this. Maybe I'll just look for a Korok seed, whatever the case is. That was the beauty of the game to me.
That was my biggest disappointment, was the end game.
Oh yeah,
that was
end game was bad.
It was like the world didn't change; it just kind of went back to before you went in the castle. And I was like, it's whack.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So, I will say though, and again, I've mentioned this before. One of my most favorite moments of all time playing this game was talking to Joel and our buddy Mark. Shouts to Mark. When we would play this game and we would discuss like how the hell you did certain things, and like you get 5 durian, you get 20 hearts. You should just go over here and farm durian all day. So
only eat durian. That's the
and it's
lesson learned.
How did you know that to begin with? Oh, you just did this. That's the part that I feel was, is missing is missing in games in general. Is like everything is so not everything is linear. It's more just like there wasn't that much exploration how Breath of the Wild did it. That's what I'm trying to bring out. It's the fact that in Breath of the Wild, there were so many different ways to skin the cat that it's just like, how did you do it? Oh, you did it this way? Well, this is what I did. Like, oh, that's so cool. And then it's just, kind of.
It reminded me of how we used to beat games back in the day. Before Game Facts, before, if not everyone's like me and buys guidebooks.
Or Game Sharks.
You ask your buddies, right? You say, hey, how do you do it? The different thing here is like, well, I did it this way and it still worked, and cool, that's awesome. I'll try it next time.
Yep.
It kind of brought that back in, and when I think about it, like besides maybe how to get to like 1 or 2 shrines I couldn't reach, I don't remember having like using the internet to beat this game.
No,
it was so good, like not looking at the internet to beat it. So
yeah, so it's definitely it's always been like, hey, how'd you do this, or hey, how'd you do that? That's the part that I loved about the whole entire experience of Breath of the Wild. So good game. Any more any input, Megan, before we move on?
Actually, I do have a question. Like, are all these Zelda games, I'm sad I have to say this, like, is the world that empty of NPCs? Because that was one of my issues with Breath of the Wild. Yes, the world was expansive, but it was also like really lonely.
I think that's a theme in the game because it is supposed to be post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
Other games are pretty similar, actually. It's not an RPG. If you're looking for like towns with people in them, a lot of towns with a lot of people, and a lot of side quests. There's a handful of side quests, but it's definitely not a Horizon or a Ghost or an RPG.
No.
Right. Yeah.
No,
gotcha.
This is like a straight up adventure game from way back when, and the formula is still the same, except for Breath of the Wild was the only one that like broke the mold. Everything else is pretty much kind of like, this dungeon, and then
there's a sequence, and then
always a sequence. And the funny thing is, Joel touched on it a while ago. Like one of the points was the story was pretty bland. But it's Zelda, right? And so every Zelda game pretty much has the same story, but no one ever wants to say, hey man, like that Zelda story was so good. No, man, it's just the same story since the beginning.
So I will say Breath of the Wild wasn't bland. I like the take they had for Zelda, because I don't think this has been done this way before. Where she's actually like, no, I'm supposed to be the chosen one. Who's this dork with the ears? And then she eventually like kind of grew and matured.
Yeah.
But the way they did it, it was like 20 flashbacks that you have to find via like 20 points on the map. And it could have been integrated way, way better.
Sure.
And it could have been expanded upon, because I think the story was there. They just didn't choose to implement it very well, or put a lot of time into implementing it.
Sure. So yeah, it's definitely something that I've, it's just funny when people are always like, oh man, Zelda's so good. I'm like, yeah, but nobody tells the story. Like the action, the gameplay is amazing, but it's just like,
The sad part too is you can miss all the story if you don't know. That's one thing I did look up on the internet where all the memory points were. If you don't find them, you just don't get the story.
Right. True. Cool. All right. Good deal. So Megan, your homework, should you choose to accept it, is to play at least one Zelda when you come back to this show. Thank you.
So Megan, there is a very popular Wii U backup system for gaming PCs that works awesomely well, and you can play Breath of the Wild on it, so you don't need to switch.
That's true.
It works very well.
Her roommate has it. Fine. Just take it away from your roommate.
I mean, but you can play Breath of the Wild ultra wide, so it's pretty dope.
You have an ultra wide, Megan?
No. I'm actually thinking about getting one though.
You should. It's so good.
Yes, I know. I have one at work. So
take the one from my desk at work. I think you guys take it back, so you should just take mine.
There you go.
Well, I hope nobody at work watches this.
Yeah, nobody at work. The whole internet does, but work.
Yeah, no, work.
Nobody watch that. Number 3, Megan. What do we got?
Number 3. Have you guys ever played Team Fortress Classic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as a whole, or like, or you talking
TFC?
about? Yeah, like the whole job systems and all that. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That is my number 3.
Wow.
It's very strange. I know.
I'm a little taken away by it.
This is where I do admit Megan is more of a PC veteran than I am. I had started my TF series in TF2, but go ahead, Megan.
Yeah. I was torn between like Half-Life and TFC, and I've talked about Half-Life before.
Yeah, but you know what? It's your list, not mine.
I know.
That's the whole part of it. It's just this is your list. This is what your 5, not what everybody wants to think is your 5 or what you want people to hear is your 5. It's your 5.
Yes.
Team Fortress Classic. Like I said, I'm very kind of aghast by this. Would you like to care to explain?
Yes. So it was. Oh my God, what? 1999 or whatever.
Yeah, and
the late 90s was just very good for gaming, just in general. Yeah. Where it came free with Half-Life.
Yes.
So really, I think Counter-Strike too. I don't.
Well, Counter-Strike was a mod, if I remember.
Yes, they all were.
Yeah, no, yeah, but like somebody just bought them out or whatever the case was. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So. However I procured this, I believe it did come with Half-Life for free. And that was my first foray into multiplayer gaming. Multiplayer gaming, yes. Like that was it. And I was hooked for years on that game. So that bled into Counter-Strike at that point. Which I then also played for years.
Wow.
It was through Counter-Strike how I met my roommate, actually. So we've known each other now for like 15 years. Long time.
15 years? Wait a minute. Hold on. So 2004? Wait, hold on. Am I doing the math right?
I was like in... Dude,
I'm guessing that was CS Source at that time?
No, I was not. 1. I did not. I stopped playing Source. I stopped at Source. I had no interest in playing Source. Like I saw it was just way too easy to get headshots. Was not into it. Yes.
You stopped at 1.6.
Yes, I stopped at 1.6.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah.
CS 1.6. But TFC. So yes, it was like it's a team-based game.
Yes.
Very similar now, I guess, relatable to
everything else.
TF2. Everything else. Yeah. Overwatch.
Yep.
And it was just a game that you could join a server, play, go get the objective done, capture the flag.
Yep.
Did they really have King in the Hill at the time? Not really.
I don't think so. I think it was capture the flag and
control points.
Yeah.
CPs. Yeah. Yep. And then that was a cool, at least for me, kind of community that you could have back then. It was just like finding a server that you would frequent and get to know the other players who would also frequent it. And sometimes they were run by like, I guess, clans or guilds or something like that. So you get into that community as well. And then that was also TFC and then also Counter-Strike, I guess, is when I first started competitive playing. Before it was a big thing like it is now.
Yeah.
And I think they were called Cal matches at the time. And I was like, I feel like I had to have been like a pre-teenager trying to justify why I couldn't eat dinner because I needed to be at this match at 6 p.m. to play with a complete stranger in a 2v2. My parents did not understand at all. It's like, no, I have to be online. Wow. So I missed a lot of stuff, so I ended up just being like a ringer for people who needed me. But yeah, it was really fun. for TFC, we had a group of people. So I was like in a clan. We would practice together in these matches. So we would meet up and just like practice strategies on how to defend the flag, how to cap the flag. It was something that I just don't do anymore because I don't have time for something that requires that much intense practice. And like I guess what they do in Overwatch now, whatever. But I just have such good memories from something like that, and I don't know if people still play it, but if,
I'm
like,
sure they do.
Large community was playing it, I would get back into it. But TF2 just didn't feel the same to me. I put like a couple hundred hours into TF2, but just fell off pretty quick after that.
So first off, again, I learn something new every day. I cannot imagine young Megan being super competitive. I cannot. I don't know what it is.
There was a time, and then it just died in me. It died. And now when I get competitive, I turn into the meanest person, so I try not to do it.
God, I need to see this. What can we play, Joel? What can we play with Megan to get the competitive side? I want to see this. Like,
so, okay, if you guys have Overwatch and the summer games come around and they do this event called Lucio Ball.
Lucio Ball,
Lucio Ball. It's basically Rocket League, but with one of the characters. We won't be friends after that. I'm sorry.
I want to see this. Whoever wants to see this, comment down below. I want to see this. Damn it.
It's like how I don't want to play Overcooked with any of my friends. I'll play with my wife and
I try to stay away from
siblings, but I won't let people see that side of me. It's pretty.
I want to see that too, man. I mean, like, I think the only person that's seen me super competitive out of the people that you guys know is one of the coworkers I went to Japan with, and I was playing Street Fighter, and he saw me getting like really into it, and he's just like looking at me like, "Who are you?" But yeah, I want to see that. Actually, that's another thing I haven't seen Joel do. I haven't seen the competitive side of Joel.
If we play Overcooked, I'm purposefully gonna be like, we only got 1 star. And like not say anything because
if on the drive home, fucking Redolan, stupid ass. Why didn't he get his fucking dishes?
I told him to do the dishes. I don't know what he's doing. Just standing there. Gosh. No, you don't want to play Overcooked with me.
Oh man.
Okay, it's like borderline embarrassing. I don't. Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm the same way.
So TFC, Joel, you played part 2. I played part 1. I wasn't really that good at it, to be honest with you, but I knew the game and I played it. You know, it wasn't like anything crazy. But what's your take on that?
So my very first foray into multiplayer online gaming was the original StarCraft. But after that, there was a huge gap where I was mostly a console player. Then I came back with CS 1.6. And I too was in, I did the whole nonsense. I was in a clan. We would go to other clan servers and try to clown on them. And I was in high school at the time.
That's what you did, okay?
What you did. And if one of your teammates is having like a low ratio, you're like, dude, change your name or get off the server because you don't want your team to look bad. But after that, I really haven't I'm not really an online gamer, so. Right. After CS Source, I really haven't played like competitive online gaming since then.
So other than Overwatch, Megan, what other has there been any other game that has taken up your competitiveness, or at least fed into your competitiveness? Not as a whole, but just every once in a while.
No, not really.
Okay.
Overwatch is like not even the exception because I don't even play versus people. Like I would just play for the seasonal PvE events or just do like a quick thing with AI.
Are you excited for part 2?
I am, because that's exactly what I've been looking for out of Overwatch. When they did some event. It's like some event where it's like you versus waves of robots, and that was like the highlight of playing Overwatch for me. And also the toxicity from just people. I was like a Blizzard game. I knew exactly what to expect.
I always wanted to get into Overwatch, but I didn't get into it when it started. And I've heard like you do not want to join random matches and suck.
Right.
Like you will be ostracized and talk shit upon the whole
Mhm.
match. So then I just never put the effort into trying.
Yep.
It's like the fighting game community. How
But at least then you're just losing by yourself. Who cares? But
that's true.
if you're like the oh, I don't even know this map, guys. It's my first time playing this map, and it's like
boot, like, get out of here. We don't want you. You take your medic somewhere else. All right, Joel. Number 3. What do you have?
number 3 for me is the second game of my top trilogies. It's going to be the first Bioshock. So
we've talked about this before,
and it is my top first-person shooting game.
I think so. No, it was it was story.
No, or for this list, sorry, it's like it's the only shooting game. I do like the single player shooting genre, but this is the only game I have on this list.
Mm-hmm.
This game was actually like the first, like the what I call my renaissance back into PC gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Took another break after CS,
right?
And the first and I actually got this at Black Friday when I got all my pieces from my new gaming computer. So this was like my first game I played going back into PC gaming, and man, it's a good one.
Yeah, you picked a good one. Yeah,
you mentioned, you asked Megan if she played one of her games in the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
This game still, like, the atmosphere still gives me the creeps, even if I don't play the HD version, like the old version. And this is a 13-year-old game now, I think. And because the atmosphere is that damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the sound is that good. The graphics, if you don't turn the brightness all the way up, who would do that, is that good. The art deco is that good. The sound, the voice acting is that good. Everything about it is so good.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Infinite, but I hated that they COD'd it. They did the whole 2 weapons, infinite ammo essentially kind of thing. In Bioshock, it was like, no, your ammo is limited. You are like legit a scavenger. You're trying to survive in this world, and that's what really, that and like the plasmid system, the atom system, system was super fun. I played it again 3 years ago when the HD edition came out, and it scared the shit out of me again because I forgot where all the jump scares were.
Man,
I remember the first boss is the surgeon, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't want to go down the stairs." But I played this plenty of times. Like I should just do it, and that that not a lot of games do that for me. The story. I think it was 1 or 2 on my non-RPG stories list, and so I think very highly of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited that they're actually picking it back up and coming out with a 4th. So Infinite is close. I know a lot of people don't like Infinite. If they took out the COD-ness of it, I really enjoyed it, and I almost made it, replaced it, because the DLC really redeems it. But number 3 is the original Bioshock.
Right on.
On PC. I should say on PC.
So Megan, you played Bioshock. We talked about this before.
Yes.
You're a big fan.
Yeah.
And you played the entire
series. I still haven't
series?
played that DLC though for Infinite. Yeah, I need to get on that.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a solid
one.
What are we, 3 on 3?
We're on 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're on 3. We're getting close. But
is it really a 13-year-old game?
2008, I think 2009, 2008,
crap.
something like that.
Oof.
It was like the flagship of the 360 when it came out, because it was a Microsoft exclusive. So sorry, PlayStation owners, it was PC and 360 only.
Oh no, 2007, by the way.
14-year-old game. So, but I still remember playing it for the first time on my gaming computer, my ultra fancy 1400 by 900 monitor.
Ooh.
And the first you land in the atmosphere, and the first splash is scratching at your door, and I'm like, shit, is this a horror game? I can't play it. But I forced myself to, because it was the only game, the current game that I had at the time on PC.
Yeah.
And it was a great decision.
Yeah, for sure. Good deal. Awesome. All right. Well, we're getting close, folks. Number 2, Megan, we're back to you. What do we got?
Number 2 for me is The First Last of Us.
All right.
I feel like the greatest game of all time has to be on this list somewhere, right? I don't know. That's what people say. It's the greatest game of all time, or one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah. It was so good they had to redo it for PS4, right? Everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I forgot it came out on PS3.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
3. Yep.
Yeah. That's insane.
looking at my dusty PS3 and I was like, why do I still keep you here? Oh yeah. But yeah, now I don't know why I still keep it there. Because I do have it on PS4 as well.
Yeah.
What can I say about The Last of Us that hasn't already been said somewhere?
I'm going to tell you right now. I think I've told you this already. Haven't beat it. Played like the first maybe 30, 45 minutes of it. Couldn't do it. So tell me, aside from, what attracted you from playing this game? Was it just the AAA titleness of it? Was it the
No. So this is another thing that I was talking about with my roommate. Was I had no any idea about this game before I played it.
Mhm.
I don't know where I was in my mind at the time for me to completely miss this game and its release.
Mhm.
But it was just something I was like picked up and played it, and it was immediately just very emotionally driven.
Sure.
And I was like, whoa, like what is this? And that intro part of it, I always cry. I know what's gonna happen. When I watch other people play it, I start crying. When I replay it, I start crying. Sometimes I play it just to cry at that part and then not continue the game. Like
Did we have an intro episode, Del? I don't remember.
Do we what?
Did we have an intro top 5?
An intro top 5.
Like best intros?
I want to say we did. I think
because if we did, this was on my list. Because I haven't played this game since I've had kids, but as a parent, I can't play that beginning anymore. It's too emotional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely agree. 100%.
Wow.
Yeah. As a parent, things hit you way differently than they do, everything else. So things that involve children, yeah, it definitely is like, I
re-downloaded this one on my PS5, Megan, because I got about I want to say 7 or 8 hours in, and I don't remember what happened, but I stopped playing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I purposefully, when I bought my PS5 and looked at all my downloads, and the hard drive is small, so you have to be selective.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing I downloaded and is on my home screen.
Wow.
I know I have to play it again.
Why is it that I swear we did? I
thought we did, but
I thought we did. Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't. I swear. Maybe it was something. Maybe we gotta do it again. I'm actually looking at the list.
I know that was going to be on my list, was the intro to Last of Us.
Oh yeah, it was pretty rough, man.
Like it immediately captures you.
Yeah, it does. It really does. But yeah, like I said, I there's games where it's there's hype, but at the same time, the game, like I said, the game's gorgeous for one, especially for a PS3 game. That was amazing what they did with it. And the story and all that stuff. Naughty Dog is just up there with the good old Rockstar in terms of storytelling and all that. So it's really really cool in that respect.
The storytelling in that game too. What I also really liked about it is that, and I'm sure other games do this too, but it was definitely something that I was aware of, is that you only ever know what the characters know. You don't know anything else about this world.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was just a very, very nice aspect to it. It's like what do you know anymore in this world where communication has been limited?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with them.
Yeah.
Good. So it was more of playing this was more of an experience, I guess. And very much so in the second one as well, at least for me, than it was any type of other game. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it feels like it needs its own category.
But it's not survival horror. It's not an action game. It's not a shooting game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's I think you put it well, Megan. It's everything in it in an experience.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. Joel, are you planning on playing part 2 anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm always tempted when I see a sale for it, just because I know I am going to play. I actually have the soundtrack on vinyl, sealed. But Last of Us it's like I said, it's on my queue on my PS5 to replay. I think I still have my save file, but I'll probably start it again so I can torture myself and cry myself to sleep after the first 10 minutes.
It's why?
So the biggest thing, and it's a small thing, right? And I only played the game once, but you see him and his daughter for the first 10 minutes, and then the big thing happens, and then you literally see him years later, and his life is like a shithole.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, obviously because we're all
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, that's again as like a parent, it's like, man, if my child died, I'd be the same exact way.
Yeah.
So it's
telling you, man. This is it pulls the heartstrings, man.
It's Disney-esque.
Again, it comes back to if it makes Megan cry, you did a good job.
Yeah.
You did a good job. You did your job, I should say. Okay. Number 2, Joel. We're getting there. What do we got?
The funny thing is, we like that. I for some reason, whenever we have Megan on, like our list, like my 2 isn't Last of Us, but our list like kind of like either reflect or like opposite.
Yeah.
Number 2 is like one of the games that like playing it and like the experience of it is so uplifting. It like gives me such a good outlook on life and makes me so happy. Persona 4 Golden. So this is like it's I would say it's the lesser known of the popular Persona games. It's older. It's from the Persona 4 came out in 2008.
That's not true. I don't think, but continue.
I think so. I mean, it's a PS2 and Vita game. I don't think that's a very wide audience.
Yeah.
Maybe people played it after 5.
Yeah.
But the reason the gameplay is good. It's classic JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
But the experience of it is like legitimately having friends in high school, spending summer together, doing bullshit, getting in trouble.
Yep.
Having best friends. That's what the game is about, having best friends and accepting your best friends for who they really are, good and bad. Like, the whole premise of the game is you can have a really shitty side of yourself, but accept that it's shitty and learn to live with it and learn to improve yourself. That's like the whole premise of the game, is learning your true self.
Right.
And it's so uplifting, and the music kind of matches because the music's J-pop fluff.
Yep.
So like if you ever have like a down day, you just walk through Inaba and listen to J-pop all day, and it's I don't know, it's a game that kind of like reaffirms my the positive side of life, right?
Wow.
That it was that impactful, and I think another part of it too is I don't have younger siblings. I have younger cousins, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So like, I know it, obviously it's a game, but like his interactions with Nanako are like, they're really, really heartwarming, especially because she doesn't, her dad's gone all the time. So she's like a 6-year-old by herself. And then you come into her life and she starts calling you her big brother. It's, I don't know, stuff like that. There's multiple times in the game where there's moments like that. I don't know. It's one of the few games where it's like a very positive, uplifting story, as opposed to usually it's dark and dreary. And
you mean, so you're telling me that murder and throwing people in the TV
that's the side story. to me, that part is the side story. The main story is you with his friends and his inherited family.
Yes. Okay. I've mentioned the game many times before. I want to ask Megan though. First off, have you played Persona?
I have not.
Okay.
Oh no, I've tried
$20
to play 5,
on Steam.
though, I
if
think.
you want to.
You did try 5 because I think your old Mark let you borrow it, I think.
And not knowing anything about it and getting into this, I was like, what the fuck is this? Not my cup of tea. Like, I got the red cat lady or something, and I was like, what is going on here? And then I was like, at some point I was like, this is not for kids.
No.
Like, yeah. So I was like, my expectations were just completely off from what I thought this game was going to be about, and I just couldn't get into it.
Okay. I will say that if you ever have like a $15 just lying around somewhere on Steam, get it on PC for Persona 4. I think that to Joel's points, there's a lot of different aspects of the game that were truly amazing, but playing 5 first and then 4, obviously there were things that were improved upon in 5. Obviously you don't need to know.
Gameplay's better. That's like no question.
No question about that. But I think the story in Persona 4 was way better, and it is true to form. When I talked to Joel about it, he's like, yeah, I think 4 was better. And I'm like, no way, dude. Persona 5 was so good. And then this goes back and forth. But it's a really good, like I said, I think that's a really good choice. Because not only does it hit your JRPG fetish, but it also hits the stories as well. And there is, different avenues you can go by as far as what choices you make and stuff like that. So there's that part of the role playing aspect as well. But yeah, I mean, it's again, if you're into JRPGs, which I know you are, Megan, I would definitely say try it out. Give Persona 4 a try. I think Persona 5 is a little much. I think there's a lot of different visuals and craziness that's going on. I think 4 it kind of eases you in a little bit more, and it's not just bad adults. It's like just
that's the thing. I really like Persona 5, but it's too much of like us teenagers are smarter than the adults, Scooby-Doo kind of nonsense.
Man.
And plus, I played 4 first, so it's like that game was really, the story was about the relationships between you and your team members.
Yep.
5, that was a side story. The main story is the main story.
Sure. Okay, so we're down to number 1, but before we get there, you guys know we do have honorable mentions section. Megan, do you have any honorable mentions for your lists that you couldn't put on there but you wanted to?
Oh yeah, I had a couple. I mean, Half-Life was one of them.
Okay.
Well, Half-Life 2 specifically.
Okay.
Game specific, yeah, just because it was everything Half-Life was, but improved, and then also it was a gravity gun, right? Portal is gravity gun. Yeah. Also Dog. And it was, a game where I was actually excited to see the next installment of it. And they didn't deliver.
Valve, I know you guys are listening, so just saying, where's it at, man? Where's it at? That's all we're asking. Where we're at. Anything else besides that?
I also Last of Us 2. Okay. For very similar reasons. But I guess really the only reason why I didn't give it the number 2 is because while I was talking about the characters, you only know what the characters know in 1. Mm-hmm. For the most part, that is the case for 2, but it drastically changes at a part of the game where it really changes. I mean, the tone is supposed to change, obviously, but for me, it took away the element of surprise. That was a lot of fun in the entire game.
Sure.
So, yeah, very disappointing, but...
Okay. Joel, I'm sure you have plenty, but I'd like to know.
Yeah, I listed my 6 through 10 because I didn't want to pick 1 or 2. So number 6, I had Super Mario World. Number 7, Metal Gear Solid. Number 8, Persona 5 Royal.
Yep.
Number 9, God of War PS4 version or PS4 release. And number 10, I cheated. At number 10, I put the orange box.
So I was
5.
Yes. You know what? I was sorry. Yeah, I was talking with my roommate about that. He was like, just say the orange box. I was like, but that's not a game.
No, it's a set of games.
Yeah.
But Half-Life, I couldn't. So I had a 3-way tie between Half-Life 2, Portal 2. So Portal's kind of cheating, and the original StarCraft. That was a 3-way tie for number 10.
Wow.
I should have orange box. I cheated.
All right. So, in true What's Your 5 fashion, we're gonna go with Joel this time for his number 1. What do we got?
You know what? Do you want to hear my number 1?
Yes, I do want to hear your number 1 because I don't even know what your number 1 is. I just want to know.
I think this has been number 1 on like 4 of my lists. It's Final Fantasy 7.
Now, is that the PS1 version or the PS4 remake version?
The PS1 version.
Okay.
The remake, it'll probably it may take the mantle after all the episodes are done, but it can't take the mantle being a third of the way through.
Okay. So we know. So let me just get it out of the way before Joel starts to explain more. We know that it's one of Joel's first RPGs of all time on PlayStation 1. Fell in love with it. We know that what is it? You wanted to try to play Legend of Dragoon? Was it that was the same game that came out at the same time Final Fantasy 7 came out, right?
No, Legend of Dragoon came out way later.
Oh, okay. Anyway, maybe that was 8. But anyway, so it was your first RPG. We know that. We know you fell in love with all the characters and whatnot. So let's continue off of that. What else have you not said about this game, Joel?
What have I not said? The OST is amazing. I'm a huge fan of the materia system.
Very controversial, but yes.
Yeah, I know people say it makes the game too easy or makes the characters not unique, but if you dig into it more, it's not true.
Argue your way 5 ways to Sunday.
Sure. I think it's the last Final Fantasy. We just spoke about Persona. Persona is not ashamed to keep its Japaneseness.
Yep.
And I think Final Fantasy 7 was the last Final Fantasy that did that.
Yeah.
8 was totally 8 was European. It's obvious, right? 8's a European game.
Yep.
9 set they went back to the Evil East Alliance. 10, 12, 13. Yeah. So that was like the last game where they were like, yeah, we're a Japanese game. We do weird shit.
Yep.
And
we're
they're
gonna cross-dress
unashamed about
you.
it.
We're gonna do this. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about, non-traditional relationships.
Yep.
So I it also to me speaks, and yeah, it could be money, but to me it speaks to the fact that this is the only game that they're expanding on, like making a universe out of. They had like Junk 13 extra games. But 7's the only game that Square Enix is deciding to make a whole universe out of, right?
Yeah.
So the story isn't really in depth. The story's great. Characters are great. Gameplay's great.
Yep.
Music's great. Replayability, play it 12 times. Own it like on 8 platforms. So
No, 8 platforms. You can't even tell me what platforms they are, but you can still own it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I own every Street Fighter and every single platform. Trust me, I know. All right. So we know that. Megan, do you agree or disagree that is what the best Final Fantasy ever?
Megan's not gonna agree.
I am asking. Can you please?
I agree that it would be Joel's number 1 game. Yeah, yeah. There we go. Have we talked about the remake at all? The 3 of us. I feel like we haven't.
I don't think we have.
No. Okay. Yeah. I was just. What I mean. If we have the time, what was your thoughts on how this first episode ended? Like,
so, and I don't care, Radal. You took your time. You're gonna get spoiled.
I'm good. Go.
At first I was disappointed because, and when I thought about why I was disappointed because I wanted a rehash. I wanted the exact game with new graphics, with voice acting, but I wanted the same game because it is my favorite game of all time. Then I took a step back. So maybe you don't know this, Megan, but I didn't watch any media on it when the game came out. I didn't watch a single review. I didn't watch a single preview. I didn't watch a single stream because I didn't want my opinion tainted.
Same.
So when I was watching, I was watching analysis of the ending, and at this point, I say I will give it a chance. I'm not condemning the ending. I really think it's a Japanese thing. Maybe you just said that they fought the god of fate and beat him. And now they get to change their fate. I kind of think it's corny, but we'll see. I am interested to see that they kept Zack alive. That's kind of cool. So how did that change Cloud getting into Midgar? Why does he still have Zack's sword if Zack's still alive? I thought I'm withholding my opinion until the next episode. I do like the changes they made in terms of expanding the parts that did already happen. I love that they talk you actually have a relationship with Avalanche because he really didn't in the first game. Tifa is no longer a little bit of a bland character in the beginning. She actually has some depth to her.
Best wife.
And I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with Aerith because Aerith knows that this is a multiverse thing. You can tell by the way she talks. She knows hey, things are wonky and something's changing. I don't know if you caught it.
No. Interesting.
I would say I think it's before she when he goes to her house and they're in the garden and before she gets kidnapped by Shinra, she tells him outright don't fall in love with me. It's because she knows something's gonna happen to her later, or maybe it won't. Who knows?
Right?
Who knows? End of this.
I think she knows that this is a multiverse kind of thing going on. And I think Sephiroth knows this is a multiverse thing going on, and he wants to. My projection is that he's trying to change what happened. He's trying to change fate. That damn time travel thing again.
That's what I'm about to say. I'm dude, is the theme of this show time travel?
Aerith knows that he's trying to change fate. I guess we killed the god of fate, so now those wisps aren't going to try to enforce it anymore. Because they were there to keep the continuity. That's what they were there for, right? So, hey, this isn't supposed to happen. I'm going to change it back to how it's supposed to be. So I'm fine with it. Until we'll see the next 2 episodes. I'm withholding judgment.
Your thoughts, Megan?
I mean, that's kind of the same boat. Like
Okay.
I also knew almost nothing going into it.
Mm-hmm.
So like 30, 40 hours into the gameplay, I was like, do I ever get to the open world? Is there anything beyond this? And then I realized there wasn't. I was like, oh shit. Let me look this up real quick. What's going on here? Yeah, I was like,
wow.
oh, I didn't realize this wasn't going to be the full thing.
Did you what's your 20-second your 20-second like review score? Like as far as like, did you give it like a 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10?
Oh, I would give it like an 8 out of 10. I
Okay.
thought the combat was pretty cool.
Yeah.
In the direction that they seem to be going.
Yeah.
I think overall it was just a good Final Fantasy game.
Sure.
Without attaching it to 7.
Sure.
But then attaching it to 7, I wasn't really happy with the way they did the whole plate falling thing. And
how everyone survived.
Yeah, so
yeah, that kind of ruins the impact of.
I was like,
destroying a town, but everyone
we're gonna get to know them, and I was like, cool. So this is gonna be impactful when they die, and then we get there, and the extended death, if she's even dead, with Jessie, right? I'm like,
I think Jessie's dead.
I was like, I was expecting to cry there, and they did not deliver. Yeah, and then it was just like, heal her. She's slowly dying. Clearly, you can save her, but.
So I think I said this before. I do think, to me anyway, the battle system is pinnacle action RPG. This is like what they've been leading up to it. Like Kingdom Hearts kind of been building up to it.
Yep.
Final Fantasy 13 and 15 kind of been building up to it. But I think this is like the accumulation of trying to do action RPG. I have started playing on hard mode, and that's when like the battle system really shines because you can really spam in normal. Yeah, I will. So if I had to rate it, I wouldn't give it a 10 because the side quests are garbage. They're straight up filth. I did them because I wanted to finish it, but like you don't have to do that.
That's
my big turn.
You didn't platinum it, right?
No, there's too much to do. Yeah. But there's it. They took the part of 15 I didn't like, where you have all these nonsense side quests. So. I would be the only thing for the remake. Yeah. Finding the cats. Oh, I grew. And even like finding Don Corneo's caches. I knew where like 3 of them were, but I was like, where's that last one? That's it.
Yeah. It's like, I remember where it was, but who cares? Yeah.
All right. Shocker, guys. Spoiler alert, Final Fantasy VII is number 1 on Joel's list. So Megan, now, since we know that Half-Life is not your number 1, what is it?
And I have not yet talked about Mass Effect.
I know.
It must be Mass Effect 3, actually.
Ooh,
I know.
So Mass Effect 3. Now we talked about, this was pretty much kind of spoiler alert in the beginning, but I digress. Megan, please explain.
Mass Effect 3, number 1 for me, because it was the pinnacle of this
space opera,
this trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that it was a trilogy, you knew this was going to be the end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
The entire series, yes, even the second one, I guess, builds up to the Reapers. They're coming, and no one fucking believes you this entire goddamn time. Even in the 3rd game, no one believes you until they're there, and they're like, oh, well, it's too damn late. Oops. Yeah, for real. And
whoops.
My frustration in this fact. So I'm just going to say, I feel like the story really gave you that sense of urgency, the way it played out. It was definitely like, this is go. There's no more time to like fuck around with politics and stuff like that. I'm sorry if I swear. Can we swear? Okay, cool. And it's like such an immediate threat, but then there's still this bullshit that goes on. It's like, come on. It's very, very frustrating. And the cool thing for me, and it always seems to go this way every time I replay the 3rd game, is my frustration reflects very clearly in the choices that I begin to make in this game. So the first game, Paragon all the way. It's super easy. I found it very difficult to be a renegade because just you are an
You do
asshole.
stupid things.
Yeah, stupid, just like you're a jerk for no reason kind of thing. And I was like, okay. Felt like a childish adults with anger issues. And third game. And I believe in the second game as well, your choices reflect your appearance. Is that true?
Only the second game, because your facial scars are healing. So if you're bad, they don't heal or something like that.
Yeah. So in the third game as well, as you start phasing into more of a renegade kind of thing, I believe the scarring comes back, doesn't it? It's been a while since I
didn't do Renegade.
I haven't played
3.
last year. But yes, so I started becoming just like a impatient jerk, and it was reflecting because I was just like, how do you not understand even at this point that we need to finish the game and win, but we're doing all this bullshit in between. And yeah, the ending sucked. The original ending sucked. It was just like a big slap in the face. I will agree. Like, I was devastated when the game ended that way. I immediately Googled the other 2 endings and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you really telling me that nothing mattered in the end? And then they did the fan service with, like, I think the Citadel DLC, which, in my opinion, I feel like they at least redeemed it, because really the entire series was about your crew. And I like really appreciate the artwork that they have going for the legendary version, where Shepard's in the background and all the characters, all your crewmates are in the foreground. Because yes, in the universe, this game, it's about Shepard, the character you play.
Yep.
But for you, the player, it's your crewmates. Like, I would just, after every mission, I would go back and just find everyone to talk to them to see if they had something new to say.
I thought you would be like, I just want to talk to them, see if they're okay. Are you okay? Are you okay, NPC? Because, you know.
Yeah, is there anything I can do to improve our relationship so we can have more conversations later?
Did you talk to Vega after every mission?
Yeah.
Or Freddie Prinze Jr. on steroids, as I called him.
Yes, Freddie Prinze Jr. on steroids. Yes.
Did he have the hacky sack?
I feel like I could talk about Mass Effect all day if I really, really got into it. The characters, I like that you do have a bit of a smaller crew in this one versus the second one, and it's a lot of the original crew, honestly, the OG crew. Liara, what do they call it? OTP? Is that what it is? I always choose her as the romantic interest. I have no interest in any of the other ones. I always kill off Caden because he's just a whiny baby.
I thought it was funny, like, I think at some point she, whether you romance her or not, it's like, oh, I wasn't obsessed with you. And it's like, really? You became like the criminal underlord of the world to find me. Or you worked with the criminal underlord of the world to rescue my body, if you read the comic, to give Cerberus.
Dang. There's comics in this too?
There's a mobile game, I believe.
Oh my god. It's too much.
It's a whole universe, man. It's
yeah, so I've played every variation that I believe that you can for the third game into like who survives, who doesn't survive, being entire renegade or entire paragon. I was just very interested. I've done a playthrough where I've killed off everyone because
you could.
I see you could, but yes, it was a lot of those deaths that you couldn't avoid were extremely heartbreaking because you spent all this time building these relationships with these characters to go into this end game. Morden, I cry every time that happens.
I was just about to ask you, did this game make Megan cry? That should be the next.
Cry multiple times.
Man.
Yes, across. The entire game, I think there was just sad stuff everywhere. This is this was the end
of Morden's part. Is like it's a weird thing, but they cut off his song. He's still like doing his little song while he's working, and it's just like dead. That was sad.
Man,
I see. I detect a recurring theme here. I like 2 because I felt like it was we got our ass kicked and then we kicked ass at the end. And 3 was too not. I wouldn't say too somber for me. To me, like Mass Effect 3 would be in 10 through 15 or 11 through 15 if I were to add to my list. Because Mass Effect 3 was like, no, dude, the Reapers are devastating us. Like they're beating us at every turn, and we can't do a thing about it. And the Solarians just like, well, still kill the Krogans because we don't want them to reproduce too much. And it's like, yo, your planet is gonna be next, yeah, and you're still on this political bullshit. But so let me ask you this, Megan. What do you deem as the true ending, as the only ending that Shepard would choose? Because I feel like, go ahead. Sorry.
Man, I like swap my answers a lot of the time when I think back to this whole thing. 'Cause the entire third game, the humans are pushing to destroy the Reapers.
Half the humans, like the human military, I guess.
Yes, yeah, and then you have what this splinter cell of people who want to control them, which was, I believe, the entire premise of the second game.
The wannabe G-Man.
Yeah, is controlling the Reapers somehow, and then the third option is essentially joining the Reapers, which was basically the story of the first game. So I was just like, really? You telling me we could have ended this in the first game if I chose to join the Reapers? And then the whole control thing, I mean, it's obviously trying to push you into the one direction of destroying the Reapers. That I think was supposed to be the canon ending.
I don't think so. I thought it was pointing towards synthesis. The color scheme, it was very interesting because they chose Renegade for like the destroy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, that's bad. And then like control, it was so kind of like, oh, well, are you the elusive man, really? Or so I thought they thought you would, and plus if you destroyed the Geth would all die.
Edie dies.
Edie dies. And I was like, oh, to me the people like they were kind of phrasing it as synthesis is the way to go. But I called bullshit. No, that's indoctrination. They want you to control or synthesize. And the only thing that Shepard would truly do is destroy. So a quick, like a really high level thing, Riddell, is the Reapers are like the typical AI thing, right? Sentient life can't sustain itself. They're too greedy. They're too short-sighted. Mm-hmm. And the only way to keep the universe running is to kill them off every X number of years and start fresh. That's like the Reapers kind of thing.
So the Matrix, continue.
The Matrix, exactly. The Matrix. Yep. And Shepard's, in my opinion, my Shepard is like, bullshit. Give us a chance. You don't know that. You don't know that we're going to kill ourselves. I mean, we probably are. We're probably going to cause nuclear winter. But we deserve the right to do it ourselves. You don't deserve the right to choose it for us. To me, that's the premise of like the whole conflict. The ending was, agreed. The control. So I did destroy it, and I did destroy before I beat it before the extended ending came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's it. Because I think the only thing you see is like them. I don't remember if you see them landing on the planet. I was like, that's weird. And then I Googled it, and I saw the same thing, that no matter what, they still land on that planet, like with all the foliage.
Yeah, that was the original ending.
And I was like, oh, like that really? That's it? I like Mass Effect 3 as well. It's just the ending killed it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Somber mood. I guess I don't like somber games. I guess. Even I don't know.
Shadow of the Colossus.
I feel like I'm noticing my own trend that I prefer emotionally driven games.
I think you do.
Yeah, I mean,
you learn something new on this podcast.
Emotionally draining games. You want games to weigh on you, and
I don't know. All I know is
contemplation.
That I'm listening. I swear, I'm listening to you guys talk about this game, and it sounds like what Game of Thrones should have been with the White Walkers. But I don't know.
No, I mean, it's
like you're like, oh, the Reapers are gonna come. I'm like, well, yeah, the White Walkers are gonna come. Winter's coming. Yeah, I remember that. But I don't know if that translates.
Well, so one of my favorite parts of Mass Effect 3 was Javik, the Prothean.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I love how he like shitted on everything. He was like
Day Zero DLC.
He was like, Sarah, you think you're so smart? You were like playing in the mud puddle before I showed up. And how he's like shitting on their religion and shitting on their science. That was like one of my favorite parts of the game.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And
face,
Liara was like so pissed. She's like, you are nothing like I thought you would be. She spent her life studying Prothean. So it's just like.
And so Asar's are like the top race of the universe, like the smartest, the most elegant, the most powerful.
Because they were hiding in technology.
Like, yeah, you guys are monkeys, and we showed up, and we.
So what you're telling me is so now I'm starting to think about Black Panther and Wakanda because they're hiding technology because they were the most technologically advanced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it was? Okay, got it.
Yep.
And imagine Thanos being like, "Oh, we put the vibranium there.
Yeah,
like we did that on purpose because you guys played right into our hands.
Right in our hands. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna sum this up. Nerds. Mass Effect nerds, and I hope to be a part of this conversation when this damn game comes out because man, that is a lot. I will tell you that. Well, we are going to finish this off. I appreciate you guys again joining me this week with this very heavy loaded subject. But let us know what you guys think. I think there's a lot of content here for you guys to comment, to like, hit us up on social media, all that good stuff at what's_your_5. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're still trying to do the random console giveaway. So 150, we're gonna start it off. Anyway, I do appreciate everybody's time. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Megan. And next week we will have another episode. So keep in touch for that. So other than that, we're out. Thank you very much. See you guys later.
Yeah.